perspective, the role of the Nigerian Bar Association to the people when it comes to the issues of law. And when we talk about the issues of law are all encompassing. And so it was the first Nigerian to be called to the English bar who said that a legal practitioner is primarily called to give direction to his people and to advance the cause of the nation. These are the primary responsibilities of lawyers. And it is in this context, and it is in this, from this perspective that I will speak with respect to the business that we've come to do, which is being started today, that is the constitutional review. Now, from the perspective of the Nigerian Bar Association, we are doing quite a lot in terms of the proposals that we have for constitutional review, and I'm grateful that my brother Ben Kalu has been quite receptive in all the things that we have done so far, and I just want to state that the Nigerian Bar Association will support this process. I mean, we would lend to this process all the resource that the Nigerian Bar Association has, and it does have quite a lot to offer in this respect. Now, we are concentrating on the justice sector mostly. Now, the review of the justice sector would necessarily entail talking about the judiciary. I'm happy with the efforts already made by the 10th National Assembly with respect to the review of the salaries and allowances of the judicial officers in this country. Of course, we are coming also with an additional request with respect to magistrates, the magistrates in the entire country. The magistracy is the place, they are the ones that do bulk of the work across the country. If you look at the volume of work undertaken by the magistrates, and yet the Constitution does not consider them as judicial officers. So even the laudable contribution or the amendments that we see happening to that sector of the country does not reckon with the magistrates. It's something also that would like the constitutional review to consider. I listened to the issue of the police. Side by side with the state police that we are talking about, it is important for us to also consider state prisons. Because if you have state police, then the responsibility for the prisons, those who you put in prison for having committed one offense or the other, we have to be focused on what we need to achieve when we put them in prison. Do we put them in prison simply because they are outcast, or we want them reformed? And then who takes responsibility of all of that? I think that is also something that we need to look at. And I'm talking about correctional facilities here. So these are the things that we expect you to consider. But most importantly, I want us to dwell on the issues concerning the matters in Chapter 2 of the Constitution, vis-a-vis Chapter 4 of the Constitution. Those matters in Chapter 2 that we say should not, that are non-justiciable. That is to say, you cannot question the activity of government, or you cannot hold government accountable with respect to those matters, for instance, security, health, and education, by perhaps going to court and raising a question as to the trust and the confidence that the Nigerian people have entrusted in those that are given the responsibility to lead the people through those constitutional offices. We cannot hold them into account by saying, look, these are the things that have been voted. For instance, in the issue of security, this much money has been given to you to use in order to provide security to the people of the country, to preserve lives and properties of the people of this country. We notice that so much money has been put into it, but as you all know, security situation is getting worse day by day in this country. And how is it that we, the people that have given you the responsibility, the trust to run the affairs of this country, cannot call you to account in that regard? And then so, if we cannot do that, then how is it that Section 4, that guarantees my right to life, would be of any meaning to me. What I mean to say is that if we cannot talk to you about security, and people go around, we have bandits all over the place, so much monies have been committed in the area of security, and we are not seeing results, we cannot ask questions in that respect. But I can go to chapter 4 and claim that I have a right to life, I have a right to dignity, I have the right to my privacy. When bandits can raid my village, take my wife, rape her, I do not have any privacy. Where is my dignity? Where is my life, right to life? These are issues that we need to reconcile. And I have a suggestion in that regard. There is a legislation that we have, we seem to have jettisoned in the things that we do in regard this particular part of the Constitution. I'm talking about chapter 2 of the Constitution. I should round up. 5 minutes. You know, when you call the MBA president to speak, that is not less than 6 feet tall. And I say that we have so much to talk about. I'm speaking on behalf of Nigerians. So the point I'm making here is that we have a legislation. The National Planning Act has a wonderful provision that provides a mechanism for us to achieve what we have in chapter 2 of the Constitution. If we can explore that, then we'll be able to give effect and meaning to the provisions of chapter 4 that guarantees your right to dignity, right to property, right to life, right to privacy, and all of that. But unless we are able to do that, then it makes no meaning at all if people can come and raid your home, take your life, and you cannot ask questions, only to be told that you have a guaranteed right to life in chapter 4. Countries like India have done it, and we have seen that courts have now gone into those areas, and you can actually ask questions and hold government accountable with respect to these knotty issues, which of course are the very basis upon which justice will be delivered to the people. And in my letter to the President on the 14th, the President of the Federal Republic on the 14th of February, I did make the point that for both the judiciary, the executive and the legislature, one thing that runs across the duties that they provide to the people is the motivation to do justice to the people. The judiciary must do justice, the executive must do justice. In this legislative work that the legislature is doing, the motivation must be to do justice to the people.
Thank you.
And so I said, on a final note, I had cause to speak at the 9th Assembly, the Constitutional Review Committee in the Northwest Zone, and I said that the Constitution as it is today, and I want us to take this very seriously, the Constitution that we have today is a document which, if operated with only 50% honesty and sincerity, will deliver better results to the country. So to a great extent, the problem is not so much about the document. It's about those of us that are given the responsibility to operate the provisions of the Constitution on behalf of the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much.